bottoms is just like a drawstring trouser, like pyjama bottoms really, with 2 patch pockets at the back. And I recommend you just make 1 pair first, just to see how you figure it all out. And then after that you can go into sort of like production line and make up like 5 or 10 at a time. Be a lot easier that way. So here goes. So grab your 4 patch pockets. So you should have 4 of these, 2 for the top, 2 for the bottom. So you may as well do all of these at the same time. I'm going to press under 1 centimetre with the iron, and then 2 centimetres, another 2 centimetres, and that forms your hem for the top of the pocket. And just so you know, all the hems on the whole outfit are the same, 1 centimetre here and then another 2. And now we're just going to top stitch that. Now I'm going to press under 1 centimetre all the way round the pocket, so that will now be ready to stitch on to the trousers. And again, do all 4 at the same time. Okay, so you've got your pockets and you've hemmed them and you've folded them under. Now grab your trouser pieces. So the back ones, because you've got 2 back and 2 front. The back are the ones which have the bigger rise. So this is that would be the front that I'm holding here, and this is the back. Okay, so those can go over there. Get your pockets, separate these pieces. So you've got basically turn them over so you've got mirrored pieces, because you don't want 2 left legs. So there should be some markings where the pockets go. So here they are. So I'm going to place this on there, and this same goes for the same on the top. So I've matched up the dots where the pockets go, and my pins, I'm just going to pin them. So I'm going to pin the middle of the pocket so that I can leave the pins in while I'm sewing around it. If you take the pins out, usually by the time you finished sewing around to here, you got a bit of a wonky pocket. Okay, so just pin those both on. So we're going to sew the pocket on now onto the back of the trousers, and when we start sewing the pocket on, we're going to sew a rectangle here rather than just start at the top, which sometimes means it's not a very strong point and the pockets tend to tear off there and the stitching comes undone. So we're going to kind of start here, go up, across and down, and then all the way around the pocket and do the same on this side. So you have to start kind of upside down like this. There we go. I'm going to do a back stitch there, and come up, and you can slow down, turn the corner there, go across the top, and then we're just going to sew round the whole pocket right on the edge. So match up your side seams. So front piece, take those away, front piece to back piece, and there's the pocket on the inside. And we're going to just sew up this seam here with a straight stitch and then a zigzag or overlock. Hi, so as we're sitting at the sewing machine, I'm just going to talk you through what kind of seams we're going to be using. So on all seams, so every time I tell you to stitch something up, it will always be the same kind of seam, which is a closed seam mostly. The only place it's not is on the slit on the top, but I'll talk about that later. So there's a 1 centimetre seam allowance on all seams. So find your line on your sewing machine that is a 1 centimetre from the needle, and that's your guide. So we'll be doing, my stitch length is about 2.5 on my machine. So we'll start we're doing this side seam here, and we'll go all the way down. Do your little back stitch when you begin, and go all the way down there. So when you've done your straight stitch here, we're going to finish these edges with your zigzag stitch. So put your machine on zigzag, which is normally about 2 centimeters stitch length and 3 on your zigzag setting, and do it right on the edge of the fabric. And the poly cotton might sort of bunch up a little bit, but don't worry too much. All this is for is to just stop it fraying. So do make sure though that it's right on the edge of the fabric. So we'll start with back stitch there and start right on the edge. You can see the straight stitch here still. Again, you want to keep yourself with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. So now we do every seam like this whenever we're going to talk about stitching up. There's my zigzag there. Okay, so over to your ironing board and get your iron on a sort of a mid-heat, because it's poly cotton, so somewhere in the middle. What I've got here is my back here, here's the pocket, and here's the front. This is my side seam, and I'm going to press the top where the casing, where the drawstring is going to go. I'm going to press this seam under, and while I'm at the ironing board, I'm going to press the hem under as well. So all hems, like I said before with the pocket, are 1 centimeter pressed under first. So we're going to press under that 1 centimeter. Make sure when you get to the seams go to the back. So make sure you press the seams to the back as you go along there. So that's my 1 centimeter first fold, and then the second one is 2. So press that down. And if you're not going to stitch it straight away, which we won't be doing with the top, I'm going to pin that in position whilst I'm doing everything else. So just like 4 pins along there. You'll get much quicker at this, don't worry if it's taken ages. And then while I'm here, I'm going to turn them the other way around. This is the hem now, and I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to press under my 1 centimeter. Make sure the seam is going the same way all the way down. You can press the whole thing later, the whole garment, if you want to, but I don't think it matters too much if you don't press it, okay? There we go. So that's the hem and the top edge of the trousers pressed and ready to hem. So this is the top edge of the trousers with the back here, front here. This is the bit that I've pressed. So my 1 centimeter, my 2 centimeter here. We're going to make a buttonhole for the hole where the drawstring comes through. So mark the place where it's going to go, which is about 2 centimeters in from this seam here, about here, and right in the middle of your casing, so that when so sort of that, mark it sort of there but on this side. So that's where I'm going to do like an 8mm buttonhole. I'm going to do that on both sides. So set your machine up for buttonhole mode, and we're just, you can put some interfacing or something here, but to be honest it just needs to just be enough of a hole to get the drawstring through, so don't worry too much about stiffening it behind. So we're going to do our little buttonhole there. then I'll get my unpicker now and I'll make a hole through there, and I'm going to do that on the other piece as well. So you've now got the back piece here stitched along the side seam here to the front here. Here's your patch pocket. You've pressed over your top edge and you put your buttonhole at the front for the drawstring, and you've pressed under your hem, so that's ready to just fold and then stitch. Now we're going to, with right sides together, fold your leg over, so you now have got one trouser leg right there, and you're going to sew both inside leg seams along there with a straight stitch and a zigzag. So by now you should have basically two trouser legs. There they are, like that, stitched on the inside leg. Now we've got to just join these two together. By the way, I've used an overlocker. Don't worry if you haven't got the right colour threads. I've only got black and grey at the moment, so just use whatever colour you've got. So take one leg, turn it inside out, the right way round actually. Stuff the right way round one into the other leg. Bear with me, trust me, you will have a pair of trousers in about 10 minutes. Okay, match up the inside leg seam, match up the back centre seam here, coming together, match up the front centre seam, so you should have this seam here, which is basically the centre front and the centre back here, and you're going to stitch that curved seam here. You can pin it, I'm not going to bother because I'm a bit like that. Does that make sense? Can you see that? So here's the inside leg matching up, here's the front, here's the back, and I'm going to sew all the way around there. You'll get it. When you do it, you'll see what I mean. Back again. So I've just stitched round here. We are so nearly there. So when you stitch that together, take the other leg out. Hope this works. There it is. You've got yourself a pair of trousers. How cool is that? So the next thing is literally just to refold this over where you've pressed it, and we're literally going to stitch, top stitch around here, and we're going to do the same with the hem. We're going to hem and stitch down the fold that you pressed earlier. Great. So they're nearly finished, we're nearly there. I've turned them the right way round. Grab a smallish safety pin and just about 1.20 meters of your drawstring thread. The drawstring should be the same length as your trousers, plus about 15 centimetres. It's a good gauge, no matter what size you're doing. So put the safety pin on the end of the drawstring, put it through one of your buttonholes and start to thread through. So I've come all the way round to the other hole now, so I'm going to come out of this place here, this hole, pull it all the way through so you can see how much you've got. There we go. Take off your safety pin, and I'm not going to bother stitching this because there's so many to do. I'm just going to tie a knot so that the drawstring doesn't come out. Oh, and I forgot to tell you that when you stitch here, pop in the size label that you will have got in your pack just inside the back seam there.